Today we're going to be reshelling a Nintendo N64. We're going to go ahead and swap out this original gray shell for a clear purple shell. Keep in mind this is only a reshell video and not a refurb guide, so we'll be making a separate video on that as we refine our refurb process for this console. To begin, grab your game bit screwdriver and remove the 6 screws holding the shell together on the bottom of the console. Once you've got all 6 screws removed, the bottom 2 feet will simply pull off, and from there you can flip the whole console over and the top half of the shell should just lift away. You may have to make sure that you don't have a jumper pack already loaded in your console before the two halves will separate. If you notice, I didn't realize I had one in there initially, so I had to go ahead and pull it out. This console turned out to be really dusty, so let's go ahead and clean that up. Now that we've got all the dust and all cleaned out, let's go ahead and begin removing the screws that are holding the motherboard into the shell. To start, let's begin with the 2 I/O ports at the back of the console, your video out, and your power. Both ports are going to be held in with 2 number 1 Phillips head screws. Next up, we have 6 more short Phillips head screws. There'll be 3 on the right side, 2 on the left side, and 1 on the bottom middle of the console. Following those 6 screws, next to the cartridge port at the top of the console, there'll be 2 longer Phillips head screws. And by the jumper pack, there's 2 more J0 screws that are longer and very delicate. So be careful not to strip these screws, as we accidentally did in this video. From there, the entire console should just lift up out of the shell with the metal casings and all. While we have the bottom here, let's go ahead and take all the important bits. Let's grab these 2 metal locking tabs that would have allowed an expansion pack to lock into the console and pull them out, and we'll also need the light pipe. Pretty much everything else can be set aside. As you can see, swapping out the shell on an N64 is pretty simple, as the entire unit is essentially just one big brick that you can pull out of the console with only about 12 screws. From here, we can go ahead and take this entire brick and put it into a new console, and from there, all we have to do is reinsert the 12 screws to reshell our console. Let's go ahead and take a look at the shell. On one side of the box, you'll notice you'll get a tool set with every shell. This can be very useful if you don't have the tools to disassemble your console. On the other side of the box, this is where the shell is located. Inside, you'll have your shell that is bubble wrapped and has all of your extras on the inside of the shell. If we go ahead and take off the bubble wrapping and take apart the shell, you'll see a bag with all of your extras. Inside of that bag, you'll see the expansion doors for both the top and bottom port, the feet for the console, the power and reset switches, your AV port, and all of the extras that you may need. To begin reassembly, let's go ahead and take the metal brackets that would hold the expansion slot in place and go ahead and drop them into the console. They should only fit one way, so you shouldn't be able to mess that up. You also want to go ahead and insert the light pipe here. I just forgot to do it right at this point and had to go back and do it. Now that we have the light pipe in place, we can go ahead and grab our motherboard as well as the video out shield and place the shield over top of the video out port. From there, we can go ahead and drop the entire motherboard into place in the shell. From here, you can go ahead and begin to reinstall all the screws in the original positions. You do want to be careful here, as you don't want to over torque them. Because you are threading into new plastic, you have the chance to break that plastic entirely. With that being said, be careful with the 2 J0 screws by the expansion port. As we said, we accidentally managed to mangle one of them trying to put it in and take it back out. Now that we have the bottom half of the console assembled, let's go ahead and take the parts we need from the top. To begin, we're going to need the two Phillips head screws from either side of the cartridge slot. Once we have the cartridge slot off, we're also going to need the two springs holding the cartridge slot doors in place. Now that we've taken all the pieces from the original shell, let's go ahead and begin reassembling them into the new shell. To do this, let's go ahead and grab all of the pieces that we'll need. We'll need the top and bottom door for the cartridge slot, as well as the two sides that are going to hold the doors down. From here, we can go ahead and grab one of our doors and make sure we grab the corresponding spring. As you notice, there is a correct way for each of these doors to sit in the shell, so make sure you go ahead and align them correctly. The spring should simply slide on, and then the entire door will just fall down into place. Repeat this with the other door. Now that we have the cartridge doors in place, let's go ahead and grab the bracket pieces that'll hold them in place. Now you'll notice I did install mine backwards, as there is a correct orientation. So make sure you test them and make sure you have the correct one on the left and right side before you install the screws. Now we can go ahead and insert the power and reset buttons. They should just simply snap into their place in the shell. Once they're in place, we can go ahead and flip our shell over and place it over top of the console before flipping the entire console over and beginning to put in the screws on the bottom. Don't forget to insert your two purple feet before you insert those screws as well. And we can go ahead and finish off with all the final touches, such as the doors for the memory and expansion slots, as well as our N64 logo that'll sit on the front. And that's all there really is to it, to reshelling an N64. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. Join our Discord link down below, and check out our wiki if you want to see more content like this. As always, thank you for watching.